Hello there again. This is Unit 8. Well, we've gotten through all the tough stuff in the course content, talking about objections, preparing the sales plan, dealing with closing the sale. All the high anxiety stuff is over now. So let's talk about creating customer satisfaction, how you keep the business now. You've been successful to this point in time. You've got the business. You've gotten the yeses. Product is delivered, installed, it's working. You've implemented the new idea. Your team is taking off, doing great things. Now, how do we keep the business? How do we keep it rolling? So important that we talk about the follow-up part here. So every company tries to create some value at each level. So you want to try and create that differential advantage for yourself. Why should a customer continue to buy from them? You want to continue to create that expectation. There's market-driven expectations from customers out there, and you need to have something in that strategy line as well. So what is the customer going to get from you that is different from what they get from everyone else? Understand what a general level of service is expected of every customer. If you're an equipment salesperson, does that mean you visit with a customer once a year, twice a year? Do you need to call on them more often than that? How about a feed salesperson? Do you need to call on a feed sales customer once a month, twice a year, every quarter? It just depends on the customer. You need to know what their general service expectation is, and then know what the expectations of service are for your competition. You better be able to at least meet it, if not exceed it, and understand perceived value. That's what I mean by creating a differential advantage. Is how are you going to be at least as good as your competition, if not better? So next, when we talk about sales-driven expectations, if you make a promise to a customer, make sure that you keep it. If you tell them that you're going to be there every 2 weeks, you better be there every 2 weeks unless you've visited with them and they wave you off, so to speak, for a call to the farm. If you're promising them that pellet quality is going to be at a certain level, it better be that. Those sales promises, as you make them, customers do not forget them. So it's important that you make sure that you remember which sales promises you made to certain customers, and that's why I will reinforce taking great notes is so critical. As you create expectations with customers, they expect you to follow through. I've mentioned this before, and I'm not sure how many of you maybe caught it, but I really like this line here. It's create a dialogue, not a monologue. The buyer-seller relationship that we have in agriculture is often a longer-term type relationship. And you don't want it to be a situation where you come and talk at them as to what they need, what they should do, how they should change, how they should do better, what kind of products they should buy, and how they should operate it. You want to have a dialogue with them. You want to become a trusted resource and part of their team on their farm, in their operation, in their agribusiness. If you're a leadership type person, you want to be trusted that you're there to help make them a better team, or them a better person, or them be more successful, more so than yourself. So create that dialogue so that it's open communication back and forth and not just one way from seller to buyer. Bottom line, in ag sales especially, success is driven by selling many times over many years to the same customers. That is so crucial. If you're going to be in agriculture and in the retail side for your career, that's exactly what it is. Because again, new customers don't just pop up every single day. They don't just walk into the plant and deliver new acres that had never been in your territory before, or new cows that have never been in your territory before. Those things happen so rare. It's unlikely that you would have that ever happen in your career. So you've got to focus on taking care of the territory and the people that you have and doing it well, because you're going to have to resell to them a number of different times. All right, the sales call process, which we've talked a whole lot about, is, again, if you've had a very good plan, you've moved the relationship forward, and you've debriefed after every call, being honest with yourself and developing a standard set of practices, you're going to have some satisfaction with your customers through the selling process so that they know what to expect, they're comfortable with you, and they know what they can depend on from you. Create customer value through the sales process. Again, I think I mentioned this in a very early unit in the course, is leave something of worth to them all the time. If they're not a current customer, leave something that is of value to them. And I'm not talking about free feed or free hitch pins, but something that they can learn from and get information out of. And I say give some examples here. I want you to think about those, what you could do. I had a whole file full of things that I could use. I carried around lots of stuff that I used as a salesperson that sometimes were good informational pieces. Because what you're doing then is creating an expectation that there's going to be some benefit that they learn from you. They get some information from you every single time you visit. And even if they're not buying product, you're still willing to take the time and find something that's helpful for them, which is demonstrating how you're going to service the account if they should choose you as a salesperson. Through the implementation series, I mentioned this just at the end of the last video lecture in Unit 7. The implementation part, once you close the sale, is so crucial. Make sure that the service or the product is producing results. Make sure it's performing just as you predicted. And if it's not, what's going on? Start troubleshooting it right away. Make sure that they're utilizing it properly. If you're instructed them to feed a product at 5 pounds per head per day, and they're only feeding it at 3, clearly it's not going to perform like you expected it should. So make sure that they understand how to use it, how to feed it, how to drive it, how it's supposed to work, what it's supposed to do, so that the expectations of implementation are met, and you help measure them. And then finally, understand the business benefits. Help your producers, help your customers become better business people and how products are helping them reach their farm goals and how it relates to the customer, how it relates to them in terms of their bottom line. Producers are great business people nowadays, but some of them are not as keen on it as others, and oftentimes appreciate the help in making sure that they're being a good business decision. So create these levels of satisfaction with them and through the process that will help you start to create a reputation of, man, that salesperson, he or she is just awesome to work with. You don't always have to have the best product in the marketplace. If you're really good to work with, they'll be so loyal to you that some of that won't now become secondary because of the level of service that you provide to your clients, that they'll flock to you. They'll trust that you have their best laid plans in mind as you work with them as customers. So create expectations of excellence as you finish up in sales. That's going to wrap up this section. Again, a rather short video lecture series, but nonetheless super important, because I think that this section then creates the opportunity to sell over that long period of time and be successful in your career in ag sales and leadership. Thanks for listening to this video lecture. Hope you found it enjoyable.